Hopefully this is all working now. Gonna do a live show, after show. Just got off the line with James Clear, and yeah, lots of folks wanted to ask more questions, and I can't really talk like James Clear, but I can at least talk about applying the book and some of the principles from my experience as married with 4 kids, entrepreneur, from my perspective. And I know there's some people that were talking about, you gotta put your kids to bed, you gotta wake up early. Venny was asking about, how do you keep up with a habit when life's unpredictability keeps getting in the way? So, yeah, I just wanted to chat about those things. If you are in the chat, if you could just say hello so I can see that would be great. And actually, YouTube chat wasn't working, so maybe I will pop this out again. But yeah, if you are in chat, just say hello, please, and let me know you're here. And we'll get going right away. And actually, maybe I will put Venny's question on screen here, just so, just to set the tone, because that's what we're going to talk about first, is how do you do this when life gets in the way? So we'll put this over here. Perfect. Hey, Sammy. Great. Hey, Dev. Hello. Thanks for coming back. Hopefully you all saw the live chat with James. If you didn't, sorry. Perfect. Rez is back. Jason Resnick is back. Sorry, Jason, I was going to post the YouTube video for you as well. This is live on YouTube, in addition to Twitter and everything else. So if the Periscope stream is not so great, if it clips or whatever, head over to youtube.com/Justin Jackson/live, I think you can go to. Let's see here. Justin Jackson live. Is that right? Yes. All right, so I'll put that as the overlay just in case people need to go somewhere else. Let me do that now. And yeah, let's get into some of this other stuff. And by the way, now, of course, feel free to add your perspective as well. If you've been reading the book I'm talking about is Atomic Habits, and it actually took me a little while to get through it, mostly because I had to develop a good reading habit, but it's like one of those books. I'm not a productivity book guy, but it's one of the books that had so many practical ideas, like little steps I could take that were so helpful. It was, like I said, it's actually had an impact on my life. I'm not sure if that live thing always works when I'm live. I don't know. Now, unfortunately, you folks won't be able to see the chat. I can like show my I can show my desktop, I think, but it's not going to be. Oh, how come it's not working? What is this? Nope. Sorry. There we go. So I could just show the chat over there. Maybe I'll do that to start here, even though it's not perfect. But this is the yeah. I'll switch screens and show the chat every once in a while. Okay, so I'm not sure if Venny is still here. Venny, are you still here, or did you have to go? Gotta put that down. Where's Venny? If you are back in the chat, let me know, but I'll answer this question first. So, question being, how do you keep up with habit when life's unpredictability keeps getting in the way? Andy Adams, Andy on Software asks, how do you form habits when your schedule is not in your control? In my case, I have little kids who dictate my sleep and wake time and what I'm doing much of the day. And so, for context, I have 4 kids, 16, 13, 11, and 9. But I've definitely been through the baby stage as well. And a few things that have helped me. One is, it's a little bit of a chicken and egg thing, but the more healthy habits you have, the easier everything else gets. And so if you force yourself to get to sleep every night at a reasonable hour, it's a lot easier the next morning to wake up feeling refreshed, wake up and be able to, do your first habit or, maintain some of those habits you've started. And so I think James calls these there's certain kind of fundamentals, certain fundamental habits that are, they're not universally accessible for everybody, but they really help. Good sleep, healthy diet, reducing stress as much as you can, just taking some time every day to sit and breathe and be quiet for a couple minutes, not deleting Facebook and Instagram off your phone. These are things that are more or less accessible to most of us and really have had a big impact on my life. Instead of me always complaining that, I just can't accomplish this, life's always in my way, life is always against me, I actually have, now that I've got more of these kind of positive habits going in my life, I'm able to achieve some of these other things, right? So that's one thing. The other thing that's helped me, Venny, is this idea of, so here's a good example. I want to get to the gym, and the gym closes at 10. But it's 8 o'clock, and the kids' homework, there's a bunch of homework for the kids that I got to help them with. And then one of the kids breaks a light bulb, and I have to clean that up. The dog throws up in the living room. I have to clean that up. There's my teenager is stressed out about their exam tomorrow, so I listen to them. The minivan breaks down. All of these things happen, and I see my window for going to the gym get shorter and shorter and then close. And one thing that's been helpful for me is this idea that, okay, I missed that today, but that doesn't mean I have to miss it tomorrow. And so try again the next day. And maybe it means I can't leave it to the end of the day. Maybe I need to switch this habit up so it happens at the beginning of the day. But this idea that just because you failed once, it's easy to get into a downward spiral where you're just like, okay, well, I didn't go yesterday. I guess who cares about going today? You really have to kind of be like, okay, it's okay. It's okay that I missed the gym yesterday. It's okay that all those things happened with my family. Now I'm just going to treat today like a new day. Today's another opportunity for me to place a vote for the person I want to become. And that's been really, really helpful for me. So hopefully that helps you too. Sorry, can I get that? trying to bring up the chat here. Yeah, the book's been really great for me too. Great question. I've got a 2-year-old and another one on the way, trying to get the habits in place now. It is helpful. It is helpful to start applying the habits sooner than later. Yeah, and sometimes you just have to switch when the habit happens, right? Like if maybe the habit doesn't, it's just never going to work if you have it at night. But if you really care about it, you'll make sure that it happens in the morning, right? So, yeah, I think that's helpful. Can I make this a little bit? Probably can't. Sorry. Do you know the link to the journal? So yeah, James talked about the habits journal. If you go to atomichabits.com, I think everything is there. Habits journal, but I'll paste it in the chat here. So the journal is by Baron and Fig. I met these folks at that retreat as well, and they're great. But yeah, you can buy the habit journal there. So I just put the link in the show notes. But if you Google Atomic Habits Journal, you'll find it. Yeah, mainly. Yeah, and again, the hanging out with the right people. I used to hate when people would say that, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. That used to make me so mad and like grumpy. But the truth is, there's a lot of power behind this idea of people like us do things like this. And if you're hanging out with a group of people that is really engaging in a lot of negative habits, like if you want to quit smoking, but all your friends are smoking all the time around you, it's going to be so much harder. If you're trying to, if you're trying to quit eating potato chips, but your friends always have a bag of potato chips when they're around you and they're like eating them in your face, it's going to make it really hard. And so, being around people that are healthy is really helpful. And it was helpful for me to be in these groups of folks that had just continuously engaged in good habits and made good choices throughout their day and throughout their week and month over month. And I was able to go, oh, wait a second, people like that do things like that. And yeah, it was huge for me. What were some of the other, I wanted to mention this, one of my favorite Reddit threads is this here. I'll make myself smaller. But because some part of me wanted to see James's humanity, and I love this thread about how he had to write the book. Here it is. So, what was the whole? The person asks, how did you, the whole process for writing the book. I'll paste this into the show notes as well. But you get James's humanity here. He says, I signed the book deal and committed to writing it in 1 year. And then he goes, 1 year in, writing is going really slow. I realized I needed to research a lot more. My perfectionism spiraled out of control. I had constant stress in the months leading up to the deadline. Feels like I'm letting everyone down. Questioning the worthiness of the whole project. This book is like doing really well. It's made, top Amazon list. It's on the Wall Street Journal list. It might be on the New York Times. I can't remember. And so he's questioning this as he's writing the book. And then he asks for an extension for another year. So he wanted to write it in a year. He had to ask for an extension. And thankfully, The publisher is amazing, grants it for me. Another year of writing, I feel lonely. I struggle a lot. 2 years in, hand the manuscript 3 months late, but it's finally done, and then spent the next 9 months planning the marketing for the book launch. Just having that perspective, is helpful for me to realize that James Clear is just a human being like us, and has very similar struggles. And, he got through it, but you can see some of his humanity in that article. In that Reddit thread, which I think is great. Anything else you folks wanted to talk about while in a little bit of an after show? We don't need to go too long. The other thing that I didn't really get a chance to talk to James about, but I think has been really meaningful for me, is that for a lot of my life, I really tried to run away from discomfort and pain. And one of the things he talks about in this book is, in one sense, habits and making small changes does make it easier on you. But there is this other sense that the things that are worth pursuing often come with a lot of discomfort and a lot of pain. We just read that, his process for writing the book, it's painful. And instead of running away from those things, what I'm trying to do now is lean into them, to actually be okay with the hardship, be okay with the discomfort, be okay with things being painful or hard. And not unnecessarily so, but things that are worth pursuing, doing those, facing the hardship of it. And that switch in my thinking has also been really helpful, to not run away from discomfort, but actually go, okay, I'm going to face this. This is the whole, hard things now, good life in the future, easy things now, hard things in the future. So I think that's been helpful. Yeah. Jason says, if I found that if I'm nervous about something, usually it's better for me in the long run. So yeah, if you feel that discomfort, if you feel like, I don't really want to do this, and not too far out of your comfort zone. That's another thing James Clear talks about that's been helpful. The place we grow is right at the edge of our comfort zone. So too often people are like, like for me, I could be like, well, I'm going to bench press 400 pounds and, after 2 weeks of going to the gym. Well, that's way too far out of my comfort zone. But maybe I can bench press, 130 pounds after a couple weeks of going to the gym. That's just at the edge of my comfort zone. It's a struggle. It's not easy, but it's within my reach. And that's kind of the idea, is that you're just always chasing something that's just out of your reach. And that's been, that idea has been so helpful for me, instead of like pushing myself to do something crazy, something that's just way too big, way too far out of my comfort zone. Here's my comfort zone, and I'm just going to step just outside of it. So, yeah, that's been great. The other thing I wanted to mention that someone had mentioned during the live chat was about social anxiety, and how, social anxiety was holding them back from developing good habits. And I think this idea of small little wins is helpful, and also tricking your mind into doing the things that are going to help you overcome the social anxiety. So, for example, if you're nervous about going to a meetup, saying, you know what, I'm just going to go and I'll just stay for 2 minutes. So there's this, it's like a mental trick of saying, I'm going to go stay for 2 minutes and then I'll just leave after 2 minutes. Now you can go and you can stay for 2 minutes. And if you're like, you know what, this isn't too bad, I'll stay for another 5 minutes. Now you're in it, right? And sometimes that can be helpful. The other thing I was thinking about with social anxiety is just how helpful it is to have other human beings that are kind to you. Like, I shared this story during the chat with James, but you know, if James and Sean and the other Sean hadn't invited me to that retreat when I wasn't doing so good, I would have, that kindness really helped me. And I think this is just kind of a general reminder for us to be kind to other people, because kindness, like if you're someone with social anxiety and you show up at an event, somebody being kind to you and welcoming you warmly, engaging with you respectfully, you know, that really goes a long way. It's really meaningful. And obviously we can't control how people are going to behave everywhere we go, but I just thought that was good, like a good reminder of the way we treat people really matters. And yeah, just to be good to each other. Cool. Yeah, so if there's nothing else, anything else you guys want to talk about quick? If not, we can call it a day. I've been live now for like hour and a half. Yeah, you guys have a great day as well. Thanks for showing up. The whole interview is going to be on, it'll be on the podcast Product People, productpeople.tv. I'll probably do a shorter version on the Build Your SaaS podcast. And you can also replay the whole interview with James on the YouTube channel. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm just wrapping up, Simon. I got to go eventually. Anyway, thanks again, everyone, and have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.